Now that you have learned how to create a mid-year assessment for a single student, now we're going to go ahead and create a multiple meeting session. So I'm going to go ahead, right now you see my last student that I created from part 1. I'm going to go back to unschedule. Remember, I have administrative view, so I have more students that need to be scheduled. I'm going to go ahead and I see my filters. I'm still in Vermilion, 4th grade. I'm still working with the same teachers list. I have my list for the reading, math, and writing, because that is what the 4th grade students will be testing. But now I'm going to select several students that are for that teacher. Now, you could look through your list of your 4th grade students, but I could actually type in the teacher's name that I will be working with. So there we go. This is Ms. Iglesias' students that I will be working with. And as I've been looking through my list, I'm going to select the same students that have the same linguistic support. It's going to be a little bit easier as I'm working with the students. So I'm going to go ahead and select Francisco Gerardo, González Gloria, and Muñoz Gael, and Pérez Landín. I'm going to select these students because these students have similar linguistic support, so I want to work with them together. I like to organize my data. Remember, it just will facilitate as you're creating your meetings. Now, instead of going to the little gear, since I selected several students, I need to come up here and perform action. I'm going to go ahead and open and perform. Just like the same part 1, I need to indicate who are my attendees for my Elpac. My bilingual ESL educator, that will be my Elpac chair, Leonor Sanchez. My campus administrator is my Elpac administrator, which is Sandra. Excuse me. And there she is. My parent representative, remember parents are not in the database, so I need to type in the word other, select other, and now I can type in the name, Perla Juarez. There we go. Now, additional attendees. Those are the other Elpac members who are working at this time with me, with your Elpac, to create the meetings or to look over meetings. So I'm going to go ahead and the other educator is, there she is. I'm going to add the other one, who is also a bilingual ESL educator, who is Julio Solis. Remember, if you cannot find your educator, you could type in the word other and type in the name. There he is. The next section is the meeting date. Whatever date you met with your Elpac, that's the date you will select for meeting date. Meeting organizer, I'm going to go ahead and select whoever is creating the meeting. I'm going to select campus administrator because I do have her permission. To create the meetings. There we go. Now, additional. Just the same as I have mentioned in part 1, you're going to add additional signatories for each test that the student will take. This is a 4th grade student, but at this school, students are self-contained. They're with the same teacher for every subject, not by department. So, for example, this is 4th grade. They are taking 3-star test, but I'm only going to select one line because it's only one teacher. If this student goes for resource or has a different teacher for writing, a different teacher for math, I would select all those additional because I do want for the teachers to sign, they must sign, that they do agree with the linguistic supports that are being entered into Ellevation. So for this student, I'm only entering one because these students only see one teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and open. those 4 students are now here on the left side. As you click on them, that's the student you will be working with. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one, Francisco. I'm going to add a new year because we have not worked. Remember, you're going to select the year and the semester. For school year, it's 17-18. And for semester, we always select year because we only test once. There we go. We're going to select the first test, which is mathematics, and the student is testing in English. And for Francisco, he will have extra time. There we go, extra time. For each test, the ones that you're able to use will be black. If you see gray, that means that those linguistic supports are not available for testing. I'm going to scroll all the way down and add my justification. And like I mentioned in part 1, to work smart is to type it out in a word, different justifications depending on the testing, and then just come back over here, copy and paste, or you could go ahead and just type it in. But it's just working a little bit smarter. You already have it typed out, and you don't have to be doing it every single time, especially when you have 400 students to create. Save test accommodations. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a test because I already added the year. Now the student will also be taking reading. For reading, the student, have my listings right here, no linguistic support needed. So it will be regular test without designated supports. Okay. And save. Now we're going to add another test, which is writing. 4th grade. And for writing, the student will have extra time. There we go. I'm going to add the justification and save the test. There we go. So the student will be receiving accommodations or linguistic support, designated supports for math, reading, and writing. Once I finish selecting the 3 tests, now I have to answer the 3 questions. The Elpac has approved one of the following. Please note that these decisions impact ELL's eligibility to exit. Remember, if students get designated supports in the area of reading and writing, they cannot qualify for exit criteria. So this student does have in writing designated supports. He's not taking the Spanish, and of course he does have designated, so neither of the above. Assessment Elpac exemption. This student is not an unschooled asylum or refugee, and it's not first year of school, so I'm going to go ahead and put no. Assessment Elpac special provision. He is in elementary, so they do not qualify for STAR EOC English 1, so I'm going to go ahead and put no. And meeting notes, it's not necessary. Remember, you can add notes if a student is a repeater, second time taking the writing test, any note that is needed for any of the testing. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel because I don't need it. And again, you finalize. Are you sure you want to finalize mid-year assessment meeting? Yes. Now, as you could see, he's not in my list anymore. Now I have 3 more to do. So I'm going to show you one more time another example for another student. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my second student from my list. And as you're completing them, they will start deleting once you put finalize. So there it is, the demographics that came straight from the student's information. My meeting details, that was when I created at the beginning when I did schedule and perform. Remember, if you did notice that there's a mistake or you want to add another attendee or another signature, you could go ahead and press edit dates or attendees. So the first thing we do is add the school year 17-18. Remember, we always select year. We're going to add. Okay. We're going to add this designated support for the first test, which is mathematics. And for Gloria in mathematics, we have extra time. So I'm going to go ahead and put extra time and add my justification. Save. Now I'm going to go ahead and now add test, not add year. We already added the year. Now we're going to add the test. The next test we're working with is reading, and she is taking it in English. She also has extended time, extra time. Add the justification and save. And the last test is writing, and she also has the extra time. Now, some students, remember, will not have extra time, so it just be regular time, designated supports. I'm going to add my extra time, my justification, and save. So let me review one more time. I have my 3 tests because this is a 4th grade student. Takes 3 tests, math, reading, and writing. All of them have extra time. Let me check my notes. Very good. Now we have to answer the 3 questions. Again, assessment Elpac designated supports. This student does have designated supports, so the Elpac has approved one of the following, and I am going to approve the one or more designated supports in reading and writing because she does have designated supports in reading and writing. Assessment Elpac exemptions. This student does not have any exemptions because they have been here. So it's a no. And they're not asylees or refugees. And assessment Elpac special provision. This student is in elementary. They do not take the STAR EOC English 1. So it's a no. Again, if I need to add notes, I would add notes. But for now, I do not. So I will finalize. Finalize now. So out of my 4 students, I have already completed 2. So as you could see, the numbers have gone down. Now, I'm going to go back to my list to show you how if I go to my finalize, I'm going to click on finalize. You see my other students. There's Alonso, who I created in part 1 for a single student. And I have Francisco and Gonzalez that I have just completed showing you how to do the grouping. Now, this grouping is just to expedite the process, remember, on scheduling. So you won't have to be typing in, you know, your Elpac administrator, Elpac chair, meeting. It just expedites the process. Okay, so now you have learned how to create meetings or how to group them for open and schedule meetings. How do I create now the report? Would be that I would view the meeting and it gives me all the information, and I could actually generate the report. And it's going to take it to a PDF file. Here, I could download to a PDF. And print the report for my students. Here it is, the additional signatures. Remember, here's where that teacher for the student, whoever's servicing the student, will write their name and sign. And then I have where all my Elpac will sign as well. Remember, this report needs to be printed out and filed for the student. So now you know how to create a multiple meaning mid-year assessment.